who better than me?
Welcome back to another episode of The Hardcore Casual with your boy, Bass the Kid. And you know what? We bringing back special guest co-commentator Mbaku Panther, and you'll see why later because he will be needed. First things first, thank you everyone who gave me some feedback on the last video through all the different channels, including in the comments. It's helped me out to just understand a bit more about the new mic, how people want things going moving forward. And I think I'm gonna stop making these Sunday episodes, actual episodes of The Hardcore Casual. I think I need to figure out just a new name and concept for them entirely. So we're gonna see how that one works moving forward. And yes, I know people have been messaging me, where's the dressing gown, or what else did they call it, the bathrobe, or like, it is coming back, don't worry. But that's coming up later on. For now, let's get into this weekend's action. Okay, first of all, I want to give a big shout out to the women that competed last night. So I want to make this segment purely about them and my thoughts on sort of where they're going moving forward and just everything that sort of happened with that. So first things first, I'm going to take it to the DAZN card that we had over the weekend, which was Quadras versus Rodriguez. And on that card you had Jamie Mitchell facing Carly Skelly, which was just a voluntary defense for the WBA Super, what was that, WBA Super Bantamweight Championship, I believe it was. Now with this fight, it was never really gonna be like the biggest of tests for Jamie Mitchell, like, to be real, because there is the contractual rematch with Shannon Courtney that's still in, you know, sort of still in play. God knows when that's going to happen, because she's been injured for the longest time. She hasn't had any warm-up comeback fights, and apparently she's going to go straight into this rematch. Does the rematch happen? I don't even know. I've got more of a feeling they're going to put her in against Ebony Bridges if Bridges wins against Cecilia Roman. But that's, you know, that's by the by right now. Carly Skelly, she was only put on the card initially because she was from Liverpool, and Liam Smith and Jesse Vargas were initially the original headline act, and she was out of her depth. Like, I don't know how they was able to sort of get her a ranking to take this fight on, but ultimately she got battered from the first second of the first round all the way up to the end of round 4 when the fight got called off. Knocked down once in the first, right at the end of the round. She got knocked down in the second, I believe, right almost towards the end of the round. Both of those were actually quite bad flurry knockdowns, like, to the point her legs, she started doing the jangly legs, and it was visible that she was hurt to the point. And it's a funny thing is, in the very first one, Jamie Mitchell put hands on her. She backed up. Jamie even backed up and just stopped in the middle of the. She just stopped. It was weird. Then all of a sudden, next thing you see, like, Skelly is, her whole body is just wiggling. Like, you know, remember when you used to watch the videos and they used to get the lines running through the video when it wasn't recorded properly? That's what it looked like. Or when they used to do them dream sequences in the old school 90s sitcoms, and used to get them swaying lines before you go into the next scene. That's what her body looked like it was there. And then Jamie realized that, oh shit, this girl's actually hurt. Okay, well, cool, let's get to work. So she rushes in. To be fair, she doesn't rush her work. She's picking hard shot after hard shot. Like, Skelly is getting lumped up, and then she goes down just as the bell goes for the end of the first round. She gets up, and obviously the ref allows her to go back to her corner. End of the second round, she gets battered again, to the point where her corner say, right, now we're going to pull you out because, like, we're not going to let you just be taking a beating. This is long. Then she goes, no, I want to carry on. And then the corner's like, all right, look, we're going to give you one more round. After that, if we don't see anything, if we don't see any improvements, then it's a wrap. Third round, to be fair, she didn't go down. It was a little bit more competitive, but she was still getting beaten up. And then finally, in the fourth round, it was just curtains. Now, Jamie Mitchell basically said, look, she's improving. She's got a great coach. She said that she was even doing sparring with Claressa Shields for this camp up at the Mayweather gym. So she was ready. She looked ready. She looked, even though she looked pretty good in the Courtney fight, she looked a lot more sort of clinical in this fight. It was all action, but it just seemed a bit more streamlined than it did in the previous one. So her and Courtney again, I can't lie, I actually think she'll stop Courtney based on the performance last night, based on the first performance, and if Courtney's got injuries and maybe now is having issues making weight, all of that stuff, yeah, I think Courtney gets lumped up and gets stopped. But that's speculation, that's for the future. Great time for Jamie Mitchell. Like, she ain't the greatest, but she's making improvements and she's fun to watch, and she's a character. You know, you see her busting the dance moves at the end. You know, you can just tell that she's born and bred. The only thing maybe runs against her is the fact she's 37, but you know, the women seem to be able to last a bit longer at the top of their divisions, maybe because there's not as many around, but that's basically how it runs for them. So congrats to her. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, I also want to shout out Caroline Dubois, because it's mad. She's what, 20? She's 20 now, or 21. Yeah, so she's no older than that. Yeah, she's already 4 times more charismatic than Daniel. She fights much better than Daniel. There were a couple times she maybe lunged in, overreached to kind of get into range of shots where maybe a much better opponent could, you know, take advantage of that. But such a young girl, she's fluid. I can't believe that she shares DNA with Daniel when she's as fluid as she is. Like, the way she moves, like the way she gets into range, she almost reminded me of like David Haye in his prime. The way she moved to kind of get into range, the head movement, the way the shoulders would sway, the way she would, you know, position herself to throw her shots, and everything just seemed natural in terms of the way the shots were coming out. Obviously, she's got to think about what shot she wants to throw when she wants to throw it, but the difference is, Daniel, before he throws a shot, you can normally see he takes a quick glance at his feet to make sure that his feet are in range of where he's supposed to be. Like, it's a very quick glance. You don't normally catch him doing it, but you can kind of see, and it's like he's thinking about every shot that he's throwing up until the point someone's hurt, and then he just kind of, that's when he goes into maybe his natural mode. But her, everything is like, there's no thought process behind it. It's literally the feet move when the arms move, like the body angles off as soon as the feet get into position, like she's already on the next trajectory. It was quite impressive to watch. So I'm saying big up Caroline Dubois, and it looks as if she might even be a bit of an introverted character as such, but it looks like she's been coached from early of how to kind of get that out. Me and my dad was even speaking about this, because I was watching it with him at one point, and he was like, yeah, you can kind of see that she doesn't necessarily seem like she's natural just speaking to people, but you could tell it's either she's been working on it, or she's trying to push through a barrier that he didn't push through in the early stages. Like, she doesn't seem as awkward. Maybe she feels like, oh, like this isn't my forte, but you know what, just I'm a character anyway. And she makes up for it for her you know, her out of the camera antics, the stuff that when it comes to not having to speak and, you know, project to the audience what it is that she's trying, like, you can just see her in her movements, in the stuff that she does, like just the general walking around, taking in crowds. She just looks a lot more happy to be there than Daniel ever did. So with that, it's a shame maybe she didn't get the stoppage, but Masiokaite is very good at surviving and managing rounds, and ultimately she did a great job for Caroline, allowing her to work on various traits and things that she's going to need moving forward. So big respect to Caroline. I'm looking forward to her journey moving forward, and I definitely think championships are in her future. I'm not even trying to rush it, because again, 2021, there's absolutely no rush. Like, she don't even have to challenge for titles until she's 23, 24, 25 even. It's not that big of a deal. All depends, I guess, on how long she wants to be in the game. But yeah, big up to her. I'm definitely looking to see the progression of her career. So I will be tuning into the boxer shows that she's a part of. I might go to a couple. Maybe I might be able to get some of my connects to you know, get me in a position just to sort of see that a lot closer to ringside than I normally sit. But yeah, we'll see what happens with that moving forward. So yeah, big up to Caroline. Now, last but most certainly not least, let's talk about Claressa Shields. Now, everything that I pretty much said would happen in the previous video happened. Now, I said I could see her getting a knockout, not because I feel like she's gonna hurt this girl or knock her down or knock her out in that sense, but she might do a flurry that she's kind of known to do, similar to the Christina Hamill fight. The referee is gonna see this, and because it's in the UK, just gonna jump in. You know, the AJ stoppages, as I called it, the Conor Benn stoppages. Now, Victor Loughlin decided he didn't want to do that. So clearly, he felt that Emma Kozin was fine. I mean, she didn't win any part of any round. I think she barely landed a glove, if anything. She just took shots all night, but she was tough. She never looked visibly wobbled. There was a couple times that she did get hurt from a couple shots, but it was never like a distressing hurt or a, you know, body shake. Like, but you could see there were certain times where she backed off towards the end of the fight, sort of around sort of 6, 7 and 8, where she was taking some shots, and then like you could see her visibly trying to get away. And I guess if Claressa had more energy, maybe if it was like rounds 2, 3 and 4, she might have then been able to do a flurry to the point and let the referee just have to jump in that way. But I think she was managing her energy levels as well when it got to sort of rounds 7, 8 and 9. I think she just thought, oh, well, okay, the ref's not going to stop it. I doubt I've got enough to hit to actually knock her out, so let me just finish and manage the rounds and make sure I just make it convincing. Now, it was a shame she didn't get the knockout. Like I said, I'll credit Kozin because she was tough. Like, you're a 23-year-old girl, but you know, you could see just from the press conferences, the way she was talking, the weigh-in, that she was like a big girl, and she was a girl that, you know, you was gonna have to put some beating on her properly to be able to get her out. And unfortunately, that's not Claressa's game. Like, she still doesn't know how to set her feet to generate maximum power. She rushes in so she swarms her own work, which doesn't allow her to get the maximum torque on shots. When she flurries, it's one hand straight to the other hand rather than one and then setting that foot so that she can then swing with the other one to get that necessary torque into her shots. I mean, there's a reason that she's only got 2 KOs in the 12 fights that she's had. Even someone like Michaela Mayer, who probably hits around about as hard as her, like pound for pound wise, she's got a couple more. But you can see, like, when she gets someone hurt, at least she's not just in this whole flurry mode to try and just land shots. Like, she'd at least try and set the shots up. She realized, okay, the head's not working, okay, let me go to the body. And Claressa was doing some good body work at the start. So when it was round sort of 2 and 3, I thought, oh, okay, Claressa's investing in that body from early. She's getting some good shots off. I think this fight's it's not gonna go past 7 or 8 rounds, just because someone's either gonna have to pull this girl out or the ref's just gonna stop it. Like, well, you're not doing anything. But it just got to a point where Claressa was just managing the rounds at that point, which was a bit disappointing, because to build up, I thought, you know, to build up her legit credibility against Savannah Marshall in the UK, because you got to remember, this is about the casuals, not the people who have seen Claressa fight before and the people who know about her Olympic pedigree and whatnot. This is about people who've just seen fights. So you've seen Savannah Marshall on Sky for the last 2-3 years, just knocking girls out left, right and center, or just battering them, and then you see this girl who's supposed to be her biggest competition, and she can't get someone out of there who's basically standing right in front of her, not moving, no angles, no head movement. She's just there to be hit, and you can't take her out. So I was a bit disappointed in that. My disappointment quickly left at the end of the fight when they decided to bring Savannah Marshall in for the post-fight comments. Now, that in itself sold the fight to everyone, and it's a shame that Marshall's actually now got to have her fight in March, because if that was the next fight, everyone's invested, everyone's interested like immediately. But because now Savannah's having a fight in March, it's almost like, oh well, they're gonna forget about some of that back and forth, because Claressa's not coming over for that March fight, so they're not gonna get to run it back in the dialogue between them. So a bit of that spark is gonna dissipate by the time the fight gets set up. Now, of course, you'll get the press conference, if they have a press conference, like that will reignite it. But it would have been nice if it was, okay, no, let's get this set up now, and then like a month or 2 months from now you got the press conference, and then the last thing you remember was them two getting into it after the fight. And I remember it was funny because Claressa was like, where's your gold medals at? But Savannah Marshall was like, oh, where are yours? Like, where are they? I don't see them. And like, oh, you can't, if you perform like that against me, like you're gonna, like, I'm gonna take you out. And the funny thing was Claressa was like, huh? And then she's like, wait, can you translate? I'll admit, like, them up north accents ain't the easiest to listen to. Like, I'll be real. Like, you know who I need a translator for more time than not? Anthony Fowler. Like, I can just about, it's only because I seem to hear so much different Liverpudlians that I managed to just about make out what he says. But yeah, I found that hilarious when Claressa was like, huh? It's almost to the point where I don't think she was expecting to hear smoke at that point. I think she just wanted, like, they were just gonna have a little talk here. All right, you have your fight, and as soon as your fight's done, let's get it on. And then all of a sudden, like, Claressa went ghetto, and you know she was trying hard not to drop F-bombs. You could see it. You could see there was N-words forming all over the place, and she was biting her lip not to say them. Like, that's just, you could tell that ghetto mentality was coming out. And I won't lie, I was enjoying it. She even put down the belts and squared up to her, said, yo, but we can go. And at this point, I'm thinking to myself, nah, that's probably not the best choice, because you've just had 10 rounds. Yeah, it was easy work, but like, you might be warmed up, but you ain't got the energy to have a street fight right about now. So, but either way, it was entertaining. So yeah, my interest is peaked. I know Femke Hermanz she's all right, but I mean, Savannah will deal with her. It's not gonna be like easy, but she'll deal with her. But when we do look at the levels of who each person has been fighting, I mean, like, Claressa is levels ahead and levels above in terms of the quality of competition. But yeah, they built that fight nicely. So big up to them, and I will be interested in that moving forward. Like I said, it's just a bit of a shame that Claressa couldn't get the knockout to kind of help change up the narrative a little bit. But you know what? That's cool. We'll move on.